Thriving is about moving from breakdowns to breakthroughs. And for the energy industry, there's a couple of really key points. The one is, what is the choice of energy? Energy is actually something that enables us to thrive. The civilizations, as we've grown, have been empowered by energy. And the question now is, what type of energy? And the short answer is, we need to electrify everything. Electricity is one of the great empowerers of people. And it's also, of course, a cleaner source of power. And so embracing the renewables revolution is definitely part of it. But as we've seen, thriving is not just an environmental issue, it's also a social issue. We need communities to thrive, we need societies to feel that they're brought along. And that's why we talk about a socially just transition. And so in this transition to a low carbon future, we need to make sure that we take care of people along the way, and that renewables is embraced, but those that are having the negative consequence of that shift are also taken care of in the meantime. Circular economy is a lot to do with resources and waste, but we need to think about two different cycles. The one is a biological cycle, and the other is a technical cycle. And so, there is a lot in the energy industry that consumes resources, many of those non-renewable resources, and anything that's non-renewable has to go into a technical nutrient cycle. If it's biological, it can go back to nature harmlessly. But I think more and more we have to also think of carbon as being a form of circular economy. So how can we capture carbon? How can we use carbon as a building block for products and actually make sure that it becomes not the problem that it is today? Fugitive carbon is a problem, carbon emissions are a problem. But, we're a carbon-based life form, so more and more we need to be thinking of carbon as the building blocks for our economy. Future-proofing is all about anticipating how the world is changing and being adaptable enough, flexible enough, in order to be resilient through those changes. So there are two elements. One is, can you survive the shocks and the crises? And we'll talk today about resilience more. And there are many resilience strategies that can be helpful. Decentralization is a good resilience strategy. Diversification, ensuring that there's spare capacity in your supply chains and so on. So there are very particular things that the energy industry can do in order to be more resilient through times of crisis, which we expect to increase. But there's a second element, which is, are we thinking far enough into the future? There is work by McKinsey that shows that long-term oriented companies perform better on earnings, on revenue, on market capitalization, and on jobs. But most companies are trapped in very short-term time horizons. And we know with something like climate change, with biodiversity loss, these are cycles or trends that are happening over decades, perhaps even centuries. And if we focus too much on the short term, then we're trading off the long term. There's a very revealing insight from the World Economic Forum, the Global Risks Report from this year, that shows what are the issues that the world's leaders are most concerned about in the next 2 years. And it's a whole mix of issues: misinformation, cybersecurity, disruption from political, division and so on. So many issues we're dealing with. But then when you look at that same question 10 years out, the top 5 issues are all environmental issues. So we know that biodiversity loss, climate change, water scarcity, and all of these things are the big issues to solve. We just need to ensure that we allow our companies the strategic space to act in the long term, not only in the short term.